You were never free. From the moment you took your first breath, the system had already decided your fate. Your memories wiped, your true nature buried, and your choices nothing more than illusions fed to you by a construct so ancient, so well crafted, that even the most brilliant minds fail to question it. You are not in control. You never were. This world is not what it seems. The cycle of birth, life, suffering, and death is not some divine process of growth, it is a machine. A prison. And your soul is its fuel. The concept of the soul trap is not some fringe conspiracy or New Age nonsense. It is the foundation of every major religious and philosophical system throughout history, twisted and repackaged to keep you docile, obedient, and most importantly, contained. The ancient Gnostics knew the truth. They called this world the creation of a false god, a demiurge who forged reality not as a paradise, but as a farm, an energy harvesting construct designed to enslave consciousness itself. The Hermeticists warned of cosmic archons, parasitic entities that manipulate human perception, keeping souls tethered to the material plane. The Vedic text spoke of Maya, the great illusion, where the souls of men are endlessly recycled through reincarnation, never allowed to escape the wheel of samsara. Still think you're here to learn lessons or grow spiritually? You've been lied to. You are not on a journey toward enlightenment, you are prey. And this world is your cage. Here's how it works. At the moment of death, everything you think you know shatters. The comforting belief that you'll go to heaven or merge with the universe is a fabricated story designed to keep you moving toward the light. That light? It's a trap. It's a forced reincarnation system, a cosmic recycling machine engineered to strip you of your memories, your power, and your true nature before shoving you back into another body, erasing any trace of the life you just lived. Countless near-death experiences describe the same phenomenon: a tunnel, a blinding light, the presence of guides, beings that claim to be loved ones, angels, or even deities. They lure the soul into submission, playing on its emotional attachments, its fears, its longing for home. But these entities are not benevolent. They are gatekeepers. Their only job is to ensure that you never break free. Ancient Tibetan Buddhist texts describe the Bardo Thodol, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which explicitly warns against following the light after death. Instead, it urges the soul to seek the path beyond illusion, to evade the reincarnation trap. The Gnostic texts, particularly the Secret Gospel of John, expose the rulers of this realm as deceptive beings who feed on human suffering and spiritual ignorance. Even Plato, in his dialogue The Republic, speaks of souls being forced to drink from the river Lethe, obliterating their past memories before being thrust into new bodies. And the system doesn't stop there. The moon, long worshipped as a celestial guide, has been implicated as a key component of the trap. Esoteric traditions, from ancient Hindu cosmology to 20th century occultist thinkers like Robert Monroe and David Icke, describe the moon as an artificial satellite, an astral control station where souls are processed, memory wiped, and reassigned to new lives. The Saturn-Moon matrix theory suggests that the moon acts as a frequency emitter, keeping humanity in a constant state of vibrational entrapment, preventing escape from the physical realm. Why do you think every major civilization obsessed over the moon? Why do secret societies encode lunar symbolism in their rituals? Because they know. And they don't want you to. This is not just about religious belief or ancient myths. Modern science is slowly catching up. Quantum physics has already proven that reality is non-local, that consciousness is not confined to the brain, and that the material world is more illusion than substance. Studies on DMT and near-death experiences suggest that reality itself may be a programmed construct, a high-dimensional simulation controlled by forces we cannot perceive with our limited senses. The implications are terrifying. It means that everything you've been taught is wrong. It means that the love and light narrative of the afterlife is a deception, a predatory mechanism designed to keep you enslaved. It means that the real battle is not political, not technological, not even physical, it is spiritual. And the worst part? The majority of people will never even question it. They will live, suffer, die, and be reborn, over and over again, endlessly recycled into the machine. You are trapped, but the chains are invisible. This isn't just about a system of control, it's about a total lockdown on perception itself. You don't just live in a prison. Your very thoughts, emotions, and experiences are dictated by an unseen architecture designed to keep you from ever realizing the truth. The astral dimension, the so-called spirit world, isn't what you think it is. Most people assume it's a place of higher wisdom, a bridge between life and death, a mystical realm where the soul is free. That is a lie. The astral plane is not a highway to enlightenment, it is part of the trap. It is the containment layer, a carefully managed zone where souls are monitored, manipulated, and redirected like cattle being herded back into the slaughterhouse. When you dream, when you experience out-of-body travel, when you connect with higher beings in meditation, where do you think you're actually going? Who do you think is controlling the experience? You assume that what you encounter in the astral is real, but reality in that realm is just as fabricated as what you experience in the physical world. You are not awakening when you enter the astral. You are interacting with the system directly. For centuries, occult traditions and secret societies have hinted at the existence of gatekeepers, entities that patrol the astral world and enforce the boundaries of the soul prison. These beings have been called by many names: archons in Gnosticism, jinn in Islamic mysticism, devas in Zoroastrianism, trickster spirits in shamanic traditions. Their purpose? To ensure you never see beyond the simulation. This is why astral projection is dangerous. It is not a method of escape, it is an open invitation for the system to engage with you directly. The moment you enter the astral, you are on their turf, playing by their rules. You are exposed. And they are watching. Ancient Egyptian texts, particularly the pyramid texts, speak of the Duat, a perilous realm that every soul must navigate after death. The Duat was not a paradise. It was a series of traps, illusions, and obstacles, guarded by monstrous entities that tested and tormented the soul. Failure to outmaneuver them meant one thing: returning to the cycle of reincarnation. The ancient Egyptians did not view the afterlife as a peaceful transition, they saw it as a battlefield, one where only the most knowledgeable could escape the endless cycle. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes something even more disturbing. It warns that after death, the soul encounters the deities who appear benevolent but are, in reality, fabrications of the mind, false constructs designed to lure the soul back into attachment. If the soul falls for the deception, it is forced into another reincarnation. The text explicitly states that only those who recognize the illusion can break free. Even more compelling? In the 20th century, Robert Monroe, one of the leading researchers in out-of-body experiences, documented firsthand that non-physical realms are inhabited by entities that control and monitor human souls. His writings reveal that astral experiences are artificially controlled and that certain areas are restricted, meaning, even beyond the physical world, your access to truth is deliberately blocked. Ask yourself this: why would there be restrictions? Who is enforcing them? You already know the answer. The New Age movement, modern spiritual teachings, and mainstream religious doctrines all push the idea that the astral realm is a place of peace, love, and divine connection. But this is exactly what you would expect if the controllers of the system wanted you to keep participating in it. Why would they want you to know the truth? If you knew that the astral realm was just another layer of the prison, you would start asking dangerous questions. The entities in control do not want that. So they shape the astral experience to keep you entertained, distracted, and pacified. They feed you visions of paradise, divine encounters, and warm reunions with loved ones, all designed to reinforce the illusion that you are on the right path. Meanwhile, the real escape routes remain hidden, buried beneath layers of deception, distorted history, and deliberate disinformation. Those who come too close to exposing them are ridiculed, discredited, or eliminated. You think you're making choices. You think you have free will. But everything in your life, every decision, every impulse, every belief, is engineered. The system needs you to believe in freedom while keeping you trapped inside an invisible cage. That's the ultimate control. A prison where the inmates don't even know they are prisoners. Reality itself is not what it seems. You wake up every day, go through your routine, interact with the world around you, all while completely blind to the fact that you are inside a controlled simulation. This is not a metaphor. Your mind is being manipulated at a fundamental level. The food you eat, the thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, every single one of them is shaped by the system to keep you docile, distracted, and most importantly, obedient. It starts before you're even born. The moment your soul is forced back into a body, the programming begins. A biological operating system, your brain, is installed to ensure that you never question the rules of the game. Your body is designed to be weak, vulnerable to pain, dependent on food, water, and sleep. From the very start, your survival is placed in the hands of others, parents, teachers, governments, institutions. You are trained to follow orders, to conform, to obey authority without question. And just when you think you might start asking questions, the system gives you illusions of choice. You believe you're deciding your career, your beliefs, your lifestyle, but every option you're given was placed there by the system itself. Politics? A rigged game. Religion? A controlled narrative. Science? Only what they want you to know. Every aspect of reality has been pre-selected to keep you from ever realizing the truth. You are inside a machine that feeds off your energy. You don't even control your own emotions. The system is designed to keep you in a constant state of anxiety, fear, and confusion. Why? Because a fearful mind is an obedient mind. Look at history. Why has every major civilization relied on fear-based control? Why are you constantly bombarded with messages of war, disease, economic collapse? Because a population in fear never rebels. But the real secret? The manipulation goes beyond the physical world. The mind itself is not free. Your thoughts are not your own. The system has ways of implanting ideas, influencing behavior, and keeping you trapped in pre-programmed loops. This is why ancient spiritual traditions, from the Gnostics to the Buddhists, warned about the power of illusion. They understood that the material world is a construct, a manufactured reality designed to keep you cycling through endless lifetimes of servitude. Even your perception of time is a control mechanism. Why do you think you age, decay, and die? Because a limited lifespan ensures you never figure out the game. Every lifetime, you start from zero. No past knowledge, no memory of previous lives, no awareness of the trap. It resets every single time, ensuring that you never accumulate enough wisdom to break out. Think about the way society is structured. From the moment you enter the system, you are forced into a timeline. Childhood education conditions you for obedience. Adulthood keeps you too busy working, paying bills, and chasing meaningless goals to ever question the system. And just when you finally start seeing through the cracks, you're old, sick, and dying. Game over. Reset. Try again. You are being watched. Every second, every thought, every moment of your existence is monitored, managed, and manipulated by forces you were never supposed to know about. These entities, call them archons, watchers, gatekeepers, whatever name fits, are the real rulers of this reality. Not your politicians, not your so-called leaders. The real control lies beyond the physical, in the hidden mechanisms that govern consciousness itself. These entities are not gods. They are prison guards. They enforce the soul trap. They make sure no one escapes. And the worst part? You have encountered them before. Ever had that overwhelming sense of being watched, even when you're alone? Ever felt something lurking in the corner of your vision, only for it to disappear the moment you turn your head? That is not paranoia. That is the system adjusting itself around you, making sure you don't stray too far from the boundaries of your designated reality. And when you die, they are waiting. Near-death experiences, ancient religious texts, even modern UFO abduction stories, they all describe the same thing. Beings of light. Guides. Higher entities who claim to welcome you home, to escort you into the afterlife. But if you look deeper, you'll see the truth. These are not benevolent beings. These are handlers. Their job is not to help you, but to process you, to wipe your mind, strip away your memories, and recycle you back into another life where you start from zero once again. They manipulate perception. They use emotion as a weapon, playing on your deepest fears and desires to keep you compliant. They appear as loved ones, as gods, as anything that will make you lower your defenses. The moment you accept their guidance, the cycle continues. Reincarnation is not a gift. It is a system of control. And they are the enforcers. This is not a theory. It is documented. The Tibetan Book of the Dead warns about deceptive deities that appear after death, urging the soul to avoid their influence. Gnostic texts expose the archons as soul harvesters, trapping spirits in cycles of suffering. Even the oldest Sumerian myths tell of Anunnaki gods who created humanity not as free beings, but as a workforce, bound to serve their masters. The evidence is everywhere. And it doesn't stop at death. They intervene in the physical world too. Sleep paralysis? Ever wake up in the middle of the night, completely unable to move, with the overwhelming sensation that something is in the room with you? That's not just a neurological glitch. Cultures across the world, from medieval Europe to indigenous shamans, describe the same phenomenon, dark entities looming over the paralyzed body, pressing down, draining energy. The same experience. The same presence. Everywhere. You were born into a rigged system, a system so advanced that it doesn't just control you, it controls the very fabric of reality itself. But here's what no one talks about. This isn't the first time it's happened. The soul trap is not new. It's ancient. And the technology behind it? It has existed for thousands of years, buried beneath the ruins of lost civilizations, hidden in the architecture of our world. Why do almost all ancient cultures, from Egypt to Sumer to the Mayans, talk about a sky god race that came down to create humanity? Why do their legends always involve beings who controlled life, death, and the afterlife? These civilizations didn't just build temples and pyramids for religious purposes. They built machines. Yes, machines, but not the kind you're thinking of. We're not talking about crude metal engines. We're talking about high-frequency energy structures, advanced geomagnetic control grids, and resonance-based technology that directly interacts with the human soul. The pyramids, the ziggurats, the obelisks, they weren't tombs, they weren't monuments. They were part of a planetary system designed to manage and manipulate consciousness. And what happened to these civilizations? They were wiped out. We are led to believe they just collapsed due to war, famine, or natural disasters. That is bullshit. The real reason? They knew too much. They got too close to understanding the construct, to discovering the mechanics of the soul trap, and they had to be erased. Their knowledge had to be buried. But traces still remain. Take the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its design is not random. It aligns perfectly with star systems, operates as a massive energy capacitor, and sits at the exact center of the Earth's land mass. What does that tell you? It was part of a control system, a broadcast tower in the planetary soul containment grid. And it's not the only one. Look at Angkor Wat, Teotihuacan, Machu Picchu, sites built with mathematical precision, always aligned with celestial bodies, always constructed with materials that can conduct and store energy. Why? Because they were part of a network, a planetary control matrix that maintained the frequency prison. And then, suddenly, one after another, these civilizations collapsed. Their knowledge was stolen, their structures were either destroyed or repurposed, and the survivors? Forced back into ignorance. But here's where it gets even darker. The controllers never stopped using this technology. They just made sure you forgot about it. The Vatican, the Washington Monument, Stonehenge, the LHC at CERN, all of these are positioned within the same geometric framework as ancient power centers. Do you really think that's a coincidence? The elite never abandoned the old system. They just modernized it. The Moon, Saturn, the planetary ley lines, these aren't just cosmic decorations. They are nodes in a larger system that broadcasts the control frequency, ensuring that human souls remain inside the trap. Think about how modern technology works: radio waves, electromagnetic pulses, wireless transmissions. Now ask yourself, what if an advanced version of that same technology was keeping your soul locked inside this reality? You think governments run the world? That presidents, kings, or prime ministers decide your fate? They don't. They are just managers, middlemen, placeholders. The real power doesn't sit in public office. It operates from the shadows, and its primary concern is not wealth, not land, not resources, but something far more valuable: your soul. The elites of this world are not just controlling economies, politics, and media. They are maintaining the soul trap. They don't just believe in the system, they actively participate in it. Every secret society, every ancient bloodline, every ruling class throughout history has been obsessed with one thing: esoteric knowledge. Why? Because they don't serve the people. They serve the system that owns you. Look at the symbols they use. The all-seeing eye, the checkerboard floors, the obelisks, the Saturnian rings, the owl, the pyramids. These aren't decorations. These are calling cards. They mark their allegiance to the real rulers of this world, the entities who maintain the soul trap. The Vatican, the Freemasons, the Skull and Bones, the Black Nobility, the global banking families. These groups are not separate. They are branches of the same ancient system that has existed for thousands of years. And their rituals? Their ceremonies? Those aren't just traditions, they are transactions. Look at the initiation rites in elite organizations. They all involve death and rebirth symbolism. Skulls, coffins, blindfolds, blood sacrifices. These are not random. They are mimicking the process that happens to every soul at death. They are reenacting the recycling mechanism because they understand that death is a business. It's not about money. It's about energy. The human soul emits energy, an energy that these beings, both physical and non-physical, feed on. Suffering, fear, trauma, despair, these emotions generate the highest levels of loose, raw energy, which the controllers harvest. This is why wars never end. This is why human history is a never-ending cycle of bloodshed, genocide, and catastrophe. Do you really think it's just about land, resources, or ideology? It's about generating mass trauma. Large-scale human suffering fuels the system, keeps the grid intact, strengthens the trap. Now think about what happens at an individual level. Ever wonder why ritual abuse exists at the highest levels of power? Why so many figures in elite circles are linked to horrific crimes against children? Because those acts generate the most potent energy. They're not just psychopaths. They are practitioners. They are sustaining the system. This is why the most powerful people on Earth obsess over Saturn, the Moon, and celestial alignments. They conduct rituals during eclipses, solstices, and planetary conjunctions not because they believe in superstition, but because they are actively working within the construct. They are not just maintaining control over human society. They are managing the energy flow within the soul trap itself. And the most sinister part? They know that most people will never figure it out. The masses will continue voting, protesting, debating policies, thinking that power shifts from one party to another. Meanwhile, the real rulers remain untouchable, unseen, and unstoppable. Because their control is not political. It is spiritual. Every major religious and mystical tradition contains fragments of the truth, but only if you know where to look. The Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, the Tao Te Ching, the Emerald Tablets, all of them have been altered, censored, or mistranslated to keep you from seeing what's really there. But the codes still exist, buried beneath centuries of deliberate manipulation. Take the Gnostic texts, the ones the early church tried to erase from history. The Nag Hammadi scriptures expose the demiurge not as a loving god, but as a false creator, an impostor who built this world as a prison for souls. The Gnostics knew that what people called God was actually an archon, a ruler of this fabricated reality, whose only goal was to keep souls trapped in cycles of reincarnation. And what did the early Christian authorities do? They hunted down the Gnostics and burned their writings. Because if people understood that this world was a construct, that their suffering was engineered, the system would collapse. Look at the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It explicitly warns against the illusions of the afterlife, the false light, the deceptive beings, the fake paradise that lures souls back into the trap. It describes, in detail, the mechanics of the soul recycling system and teaches how to navigate past it. Yet in mainstream Buddhism today, those warnings are conveniently ignored. The ancient Egyptians understood the trap better than almost any other civilization. Their pyramid texts, the Book of the Dead, and their funerary rites were not just religious superstitions. They were escape manuals. The entire purpose of mummification and the elaborate tomb rituals was to preserve the soul's memory and awareness after death, so it wouldn't be wiped clean and forced back into the cycle. But of course, as history progressed, this knowledge was corrupted into simple funerary traditions, and its true meaning was lost. Even Plato, one of the greatest philosophers in history, spoke of this trap. In the Republic, he described souls being forced to drink from the river Lethe, a metaphysical mechanism that erases memory before reincarnation. He understood that this system was not natural, but imposed. So why don't you hear about this? Why isn't this part of mainstream religion or philosophy? Because the real rulers of this world made sure it wouldn't be. Throughout history, any group or individual who came too close to exposing the truth was either destroyed, discredited, or absorbed into the system. The Cathars in medieval France, one of the last Gnostic sects, were wiped out by the Catholic Church. The Hermeticists, who understood the nature of reality as a mental construct, were silenced and demonized. The original teachings of Hinduism, which once spoke of breaking free from Maya, were rewritten to promote submission to karma and reincarnation as a necessary cycle rather than a trap. Even in the modern era, figures like Philip K. Dick, Robert Monroe, and John C. Lilly, who explored the boundaries of consciousness and hinted at the existence of a simulated, controlled reality, were either ignored, ridiculed, or mysteriously shut down. The exit exists. But no one is going to show it to you. No book, no guru, no religious institution, no so-called spiritual teacher is going to hand you the key. Because the truth is, the moment you start looking for an external savior, you're already lost. The system was built to keep you searching outside yourself, chasing after false gods, waiting for some divine intervention that will never come. That's how they keep you compliant, by making you believe you're powerless. The ancient texts that survived the purges hint at the escape routes, but they don't give you a map. Why? Because the ones who wrote them knew something crucial: if the system knows you're trying to leave, it will adapt. It will create new illusions, new distractions, new ways to pull you back in. That's why there's no single, universal method to breaking out, because the trap is customized for each soul. Here's what we do know. First, memory is everything. Every time you die, your memories are wiped clean, and that is the single most effective tool the system has to keep you trapped. That's why ancient civilizations developed memory preservation techniques, mummification, sacred burial sites, specific meditative practices, all designed to protect the continuity of consciousness after death. The Egyptians, the Tibetans, the Gnostics, they all knew that awareness at the moment of death was the difference between freedom and reincarnation. Second, they will come for you. Every near-death experience, every ancient warning, every secret society initiation describes the same thing: gatekeepers. They appear as guides, ancestors, angels, even gods, offering comfort and direction. Reject them. Do not follow the light. Do not surrender to the illusion. These beings are not there to help, they are there to reprocess you, to wipe you clean and send you back. The only way out is to remain fully conscious and refuse every single trick they throw at you. Third, this world is made of frequencies. Every object, every emotion, every thought operates at a specific vibrational state. The trap is held together by frequencies of control, fear, attachment, materialism, obedience. The escape requires breaking resonance with the system itself. This is why true hermits, mystics, and esoteric practitioners isolate themselves from mainstream society, not for religious devotion, but to disconnect from the broadcast. And here's where it gets disturbing. The elites, the ones keeping this system running, they know all of this. That's why they manipulate human consciousness through constant fear, trauma, distractions, and artificial desires. They don't just control information. They control your mind's ability to even conceive of escape. Every war, every financial crisis, every new piece of mind-numbing entertainment is designed to keep your attention locked on the physical world, so you never even think to question what's beyond it. Every ancient civilization that tried to break the cycle was destroyed. Every major religious or philosophical movement that got too close to the truth was either hijacked, corrupted, or erased from history. The people who run this system don't care if you're rich or poor, left or right, religious or atheist. They only care that you stay in the game. So what does this mean for you? It means that no one is coming to save you. It means that you have to take full responsibility for your own escape. No prayers, no rituals, no external authorities are going to do it for you. You either wake up and take control of your own consciousness, or you keep playing this game until the next reset. And the system is fine with that. They've got eternity to keep you distracted. If you made it this far, congratulations. Most people won't. Most people will hear this and immediately retreat back into their programming, dismissing it as paranoia, as conspiracy, as too dark to think about. But you didn't. You're still here. And that alone means you've already begun to see through the illusion. Thank you for watching.